us today. I'm really excited to welcome you. So again, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here today for this presentation as how you can start a successful business as a photo manager. And 20 years ago, nobody had heard of, hang on, let me get my next screen here. Oops. Such a thing as professional business coaches, right? Or personal trainers, or even home organizers. But today, they are household concepts. The same will soon be true for professional photo organizers. These types of services opportunities have grown because people are busy and looking for help, and a growing number of people are looking for meaningful work that provides them with flexibility and income growth. So if you are thinking about those things, this is a great match. I want to let you know right now, you can put any questions you have in the chat. We'll have plenty of time at the end to answer your questions. No question is too silly or difficult for us to answer. So we'll just make sure that you go ahead and fill up the chat with questions. And so you might be wondering, well, why is there such a growing need for professional photo organizers? Well, these are the reasons. There's many reasons, but here are some of the key ones. Our little trusty mobile devices have become the cameras in our hands at all times, resulting in over 1 billion digital photos taken yearly. While our ability to take photos and videos in an instant has accelerated, the technology to help us decide which are worth keeping or not has not kept pace. When you ask people how they feel about their photos, the most common answers that we hear over and over with is, I feel overwhelmed, I feel frustrated, helpless. In fact, 12 years ago when I started, people would look at me with this puzzled and skeptical kind of look on their face. Today, everybody says, oh my God, I need you. Now, the other key thing about this too is a lot of people seem to think there was some magic button that they miss pushing that everybody else in the world knows about but them. But that is absolutely not true. It is really complicated to organize your digital photo collection. There are so many options and choices, and it's just really confusing. And so people really need help. In fact, Rise Above Research recently reported that the number of photos captured globally has continued to grow, estimating that 1.6 trillion photos will be taken in 2023. That's a 7.5% increase over 2022. So we always joke, what does this give us? Is a lot of job security. But not only do people have too many digital photos, right? People also have boxes and bins and drawers and old photo albums and scrapbooks full of printed photos that they really need to curate and scan so they can be shared into the future. And that word curation is an important word in this process, right? We tend to use the word organizing, but really a lot of what that is curating a photo collection. Finding the best photos, the ones that really matter, are the ones that are worth keeping. And along with all those boxes of analog photos, people also have home movies on lots of formats that are no longer accessible, right? Who has a VCR or camcorder anymore? And then mixed in those are always kids' artwork or newspaper articles, letters from the past, meaningful memorabilia. So there is so much involved in this process of helping people manage we talk about photos, but it's always so much more than that. So today I'm going to share with you the following information. Why the work of photo organizing matters. What is it that people do that call themselves professional photo managers? Who are the photo managers as an organization? How joining the photo managers can provide a business in a box for you kind of concept of helping you get a business started. And then, like I mentioned, we'll leave plenty of time for Q&A. So let me introduce myself. I'm Kathy Nelson. I'm the CEO and founder of the Photo Managers. We are a global educational association that offers classes, an annual conference, professional certification, and a supportive, engaged community for the growing career of professional photo management. I'm also the author of 2 books, Photo Organizing Made Easy, going from overwhelmed to overjoyed, which is kind of directed towards organizing your photos. And then also for the person considering a career, a business roadmap for professional photo organizers, everything you need to grow and start a thriving photo organizing business. So that's my formal introduction of who I am, but let me tell you a little bit about me and why I think this work is so important. First of all, also, if you are an employee or have been an employee and are thinking about this would be kind of a new second act career, a new chance for yourself maybe to add another source of income, I was that person as well once. I worked for over 12 years in marketing and sales at the local TV stations in my community. And while I loved my career, when I became a mom, I couldn't quite manage any life-work balance. So I took a leap of faith and quit. That's when I began my entrepreneurial journey, and I have never looked back. I was the person in my family that always took the photos, that I wanted to save the family stories. I'd make those photo albums for people or calendars as gifts. I'd pore over old photo albums, fascinated by the people who came before me. And as I thought about this over the years, I realized that this sums up the why I think we do what we do perfectly. There have been great societies that did not have the wheel, but no societies that did not tell stories. Our photos, they tell the stories of our lives, right? They are a connection to family, to friends, the past, and they are a message to the future. But if your photos are completely disorganized, if you can't find the photos that you care about because they're lost in a sea of digital data or in a box, you can't tell the stories you care about. These are the reasons why people hire a professional photo organizer. They come looking for help because their photos are a mess. They have thousands and thousands on their phone. They wonder, will my kids ever care about these family photos? They have old home movies they haven't seen in decades. Many times they've experienced a flood, a fire, tornado, hurricane, a hard drive crash, and they realize, oh my gosh, my photos are at risk of disappearing forever. Or they're becoming increasingly aware that if that hasn't happened to them yet, it may be coming at any time. A lot of times people will hire somebody because a family member has been recently diagnosed, maybe with dementia, or has a terminal illness, and suddenly they realize, wow, I need to get those family photos and stories managed from this person before it's too late. Or a lot of times there's something really fun happening. I'm in the process right now. I'm a perfect case study of what we've talked about for years. My son is getting married on Labor Day, and suddenly I am in the process of really going through those old family photos and getting his fiance's parents to give me all their photos so that I can create that really fun video montage I want to show at the rehearsal dinner. And so there's a trigger event for me, right? My photos are somewhat organized, not as good as I would like them to be. And her parents' photos are a mess. They are having a hard time even finding everything. So that's not an uncommon time when somebody says, wow, I really need somebody to help me do this. So what does this mean? That there's thousands and thousands of people looking to hire somebody like you. Now, there's three things I really want to stress before we get too far into this, is that when I go through this list of all the services that you can provide, is one, you do not need to offer all these services or by any stretch of the imagination be an expert in everything. It's completely impossible. So take off your perfectionism hat and don't worry about all those kind of details. Number two, it's okay to start your business even if your photos aren't organized. I just outed myself that I've hired one of our members to actually do this work for me because I just don't have the time. I'm like everybody else. I'm a busy person leading a busy life, and I care deeply for my photos. And I finally gave up and thought, it's crazy for me to think I'm going to get to it. I'm not, but I have a pro that can. And then also, whatever employee experience, whatever background you have, you're going to draw on those strengths if you decide that you want to take this leap and become an entrepreneur owning your own business. So what are some of the common jobs that people will do for clients? The first one we say is organizing printed photos. And it's a lot easier than you think to organize somebody else's photos. The reason that we talk about, that's kind of what I meant when I said curation, right? People still have boxes of printed photos, slides, and negatives. They need to be organized so they can be scanned to the future. But it doesn't make sense to scan every photo that was ever taken. Otherwise, people are just spending a lot of money on recreating the same mess digitally that they had with their analog photos. So the concept of organizing is really the curating the collection. And if you think that this would be really hard to do, I can promise you it's not. We have a great course on how to do this in Forms. It's different than if you're going through your own family photos because you're working with somebody else's. It's not that hard to find people. It's not a mystery. You'll find quickly of what people take photos of. And once you know who people are using a chart of, this is Mary and Tom when they got married, or however the family layout works, it's amazing. The same people will show up in photos year after year at the vacations or at the holidays. And it's really not that difficult of a process. The next job that many people do is scanning. It's easy because it's kind of a low learning curve for most people. Everybody needs photos scanned at some point. It provides a digital backup, and it assures that your family photos will be safe and accessible for future generations. In fact, speaking of these weather extremes, one of our members in Naples has just been inundated for the past, she's barely coming up for air in the past year, is rescuing people's waterlogged photos from the hurricane. that they managed to save, because yes, you can save photos once they've been, even in a flood situation, there's a whole way that you go about do that. And she's so busy scanning people's photos and people constantly calling her concerned as the hurricane season approaches again. So scanning requires just some basic equipment. And like I said, it's with a little overhead, you can get a great return. Many people want to start with scanning, and I want to stress that you can start with just a basic flatbed scanner. We recommend often that people start with the Epson Perfection V600. It's about $299. It's a flatbed scanner, and it will take time, but it's a great entry way to get started. Once you have a client base, then you might consider adding the Epson Fast Photo, or consider camera scanning on other scan. There's lots of different ways that you can scan photos, and we talk about that quite a bit through as part of our membership. Another significant job that people do for many members is what we call digital photo organizing. It's one of the fastest growing services because it's just a big problem that's only getting bigger. One of our members, Jordan Babian, loves to say that the average family now has the same number of digital assets a small business did just a few years ago. They just don't realize it yet. In fact, also because this is the most photographed generation in history, they're most at risk of losing their visual heritage, because who can possibly sort through the millions of screenshots and selfies to find the few that matter? That's where a photo organizer steps in. They consolidate everything in one place, right? Working with their client, they find out, I've got photos on an iPhone. My husband is an Android user. I have photos in Dropbox, Google, Amazon. Get everything into one place, remove the duplicates, add keywords so you can quickly find photos, create a backup, and then recommend a cloud service or an online photo gallery. So I'm going to take an educated guess that most of you listening haven't organized a large amount of digital photos before. That is why we say, are you tech savvy sometimes? What we mean by that is, are you comfortable learning new technology skills? The good news is you aren't learning alone, and lots of people learn alongside you. Some of the programs our professionals use include Adobe Lightroom Classic, or if they're more focused on Mac clients, just a deep understanding of the Photos library. Again, if you aren't familiar with those things, as long as you have a willingness to learn, because that's really what this requires, a willingness to take a deep breath and learn things that your customer isn't interested in learning, because it's complex and you can learn it. And then in exchange for that, you're charging a good fee for this time that you've taken to learn these skills. Now, the last point I like to make about what people love to do as photo managers is also the fun part of sharing photos, right? We have some members who are just interested in creating photo books for people, high-end travel books, video slideshows to weddings and things, online photo galleries, wall art, and more. So there's so many ways that you can then do the fun part of creatively sharing photos when you're finished. So that's just a few of the services. There's some additional ones that keep growing and evolving. Like I mentioned, home movie conversion, genealogy research, video montages for special events, focusing on large family collections, or even business archives. One of our members is working with the Junior Women's League in Miami to help them prepare for their 50th anniversary. My son, who just started doing this full time 6 months ago, was just contacted by Black & Decker, whose headquarters happen to be here, and they need somebody to scan their lifetime collection of their business annual reports. And so he suddenly went from not ever scanning books to learning how to scan books, and has a big job doing that. So again, there's a lot of diverse jobs that you can get as a photo organizer. Now, again, I'm going to mention those critical takeaways, right? You don't need to offer all these services or be an expert in everything. It's okay to start it if your own photos aren't organized. Whatever you've done in the past, you can build on those skills to become an entrepreneur. And then, like I mentioned, though, a willingness to try new things, fail, and try again is really helpful. So let's talk about who we are as the photo managers, right? We are, and why joining can be really integral to your success in this growing profession. So we are a global organization that serves our members through training, professional certification, partnerships, and educational conferences. Currently, we have over 700 professionals who all share the same passion, a desire to help people in businesses curate their photo collections so they can share their stories. To become a member of the Photo Managers, you pay an annual membership fee, which can be paid quarterly. It's $175, or you can save $100 and pay annually. It's $599. giving you access to all the support, training, and resources we provide. When we survey our members, they always report that the top benefits are the community and the education. So this brings me to the part of the presentation where I'm going to share with you why joining the Photo Managers is like receiving a business in a box, but we don't mail you a box. We did years ago when we first started, but we don't mail a box any longer. Since I started this organization over 12 years ago, the goal has always been to give people access to the best training and tools so you don't have to reinvent the wheel and figure everything out for yourself. In fact, we have two core mission statements that drive every decision that we make at the Photo Managers. One is a rising tide lifts all boats, and we are collaborative, not competitive. There are way more clients than are even close in any community whatsoever of Photo Managers. That's the last thing that you need to be concerned with. So the benefits of membership can be summarized as what we call the 5 C's. And I'm going to take you through those quickly here. Core foundation, credibility, community, competency, and collaboration. Because we all need a good acronym, right? So that's our acronym. So slide 16 here is when starting a business, you need a core foundation of knowledge, especially if you've never started a business. So our business foundation class takes you through all the steps from naming your business to onboarding your first client. You just go through, you can do it day by day, week by week, whatever works for you. It's self-paced. It would normally be $149 if you bought that just through our website without being a member. I really recommend if you've never been in business before, you start with this because we talk about workflow, how to price your product, your services, how to plan your customer journey, how to find clients, and a checklist so that you're really ready to launch your business. So especially if you like checklists and things like that, this is a great course for you to get started with. In addition to that, we also send you my book, Photo Organizing Made Easy. So it's kind of just a good book to take you through the basics of photo organizing. And we also have a new member roadmap that we provide for you. We have business resources and a training vault that's filled with all the webinars we've ever done in the past. So there's everything that you really need is the core to get your business started. We provide you with that. Even this finding photos checklist, it's amazing where people might have their photos. You don't have to come up with a checklist on your own. We've created one for you. Then you can take that, download it, add your logo to it, personalize it to what works for you. And suddenly you have a great checklist to when you're meeting with your first client. So all of that is kind of done for you. You don't have to rethink and reinvent any of that. We also have what we call our best practices and code of ethics. So that brings us to, that's part of our credibility, right? Having a strong code of ethics and best practices has been critical to ensuring our credibility as trusted experts. And along with that, we have what we call professional certification. That's a course that you go through. You can do that in a weekend. The course is meant to increase your knowledge and understanding of photo management best practices and industry standards. What takes the time to become certified is that once you go through the course, you are going to be documenting a client project from start to finish and sharing with us throughout that process, documenting that process. Then when you're finished, you upload the finished project documentation. We check your references, the person that you did that project for, and then you have an interview with me. And at that point, then you're certified. That then gives you, we put you, turn on your search engine on our website so people can find you if they're looking for a professional in California or in South Dakota or in South Africa or wherever they're looking for somebody. Once you're certified, you show up on the search part of it. And that's really doesn't take, sometimes people always ask, how long does that take? It depends on how long you want to take. We do not, there's no time limit on our part. It's just you go at the pace that works most comfortably for you. The next C is what we call community. One member summed it up best this way. So many of us work independently. We don't have coworkers to bounce things off with or help desk to call with questions. Photo Managers is that for me. As Casey said, doing this alone can be difficult. With the Photo Managers, you're not alone. You have a community of hundreds of other professionals from all walks of life and experience ready to help. Our members like to say our Facebook only group is like having a 24-hour tech team on call to help you. It's a community where you can safely ask questions anytime, and it's amazing how quickly you'll get answers. So you'll never really be stuck because there's somebody there at all hours of the night ready to answer your questions and really support you in your journey. Also, upon joining, you'll be introduced to the regional leader in your area who are volunteers, but every month, different regions of the country, they do monthly Zoom meetings. And we have our Europe group that gets together, our Canadian group, we have our Southeast region, different regions of the country, and it's really fun. And it's been a nice way for people to get to know each other in their own regions. So you'll immediately be introduced to your regional leader who will welcome you and send you the schedule of when their meetings are. We also hold what we call monthly huddles with lots of great topics. So actually this Monday is our next member huddle. It's kind of a networking meeting. And the theme for that one is, how do you recognize red flags? Like, what's a red flag situation that you've dealt with? Maybe it's a client who, asks, maybe doesn't follow your instructions or things like that. So members will get together and share with each other how they identify red flag clients and what they do. Each month we have a different theme like that. So, how do you answer the question, how much does this cost? Or what is your elevator pitch? So again, that's another chance that we offer for our members to come together in a networking using something more fun than Zoom. It's called Remo, and you sit table to table. It's really fun. And so we do everything we can to ensure that we're connecting you to other members, because it's hard to be in business by yourself, and it makes all the difference if you have a community of people who know what you're going through and can talk the talk and are walking the walk with you. We also do an annual conference. This year, our 11th conference is coming up in just 5 weeks. I'm deep into planning. We'll be gathering in Orlando. If you can join us, I highly recommend it. Even if you're not a member, many of our members have come to conference before they were members. They took that risk, jumped in and said yes. And it's an amazing event. We also repeat it 4 weeks later in May. It's our virtual conference. So you're welcome to join us virtually. We know how to throw a great virtual conference after COVID, right? We learned the hard way that you didn't have to always do an in-person conference. We make it really fun. We have same kind of prizes. It's all the same speakers. And then you have lifetime access to all the breakouts. So if you haven't taken a minute, maybe Isabel can drop the conference note link in the chat. Take a look at all those great classes that we have and think about joining us either in person or virtually. Then the fourth C is competency, right? So we are continually trying to improve the training that we promise that we're an educational, provide training and education. So the past year, we've added what we call business building blocks of digital photo organizing. This is a $399 course normally, but we take you through digital imaging basics, how to organize, what's a digital photo organizing workflow, how to diagnose and treat an unhealthy photo system, all the things that you need if you're going to be stepping into doing digital photo organizing. We also have a course, Organizing Your Clients' Printed Photos. And again, this is important. It was taught by Sandra Williams, and she actually, shows how she took that client project from those pictures to what it looks like now. And again, like I mentioned, when you're doing somebody else's printed photos, it's very different than when you're doing your own. And so she gives you all the tools and expertise to manage the project. So you don't have to panic if somebody calls you and they say they have boxes of bins and you pick that mess up, what the heck to do with it. We are also looking at adding 2 new courses this year. We don't have the exact dates yet, but we will be adding a scanning course and also a home movie conversion course to kind of fill in this, our competency classes. And those are going to be always included in your membership. We also have a series of classes called Business Systems for Success. We hired Aaron Taylor last year to do a series of 10 workshops, and we recorded them. This is to help make sure that you have the right systems to ensure you're profitable. So this isn't something you're going to jump into right away. As a new member, you're probably not going to be worrying about project management profitability or why you need standard operating procedures or managing your overwhelm in your business. But you will as you get busier, and you will get busy. And so this material is here for you when you're ready for that kind of training and information to help you really streamline your business and not feel like overwhelmed by all the details that are happening. Also, in terms of collaboration, every September is Save Your Photos Month. This is, I think, will be our 9th year. We provide you with all the tools to either host your own event or participate in our events. We started that in September in response to Hurricane Sandy and some tornadoes and things that now, again, have become a regular part of our world. But it's really the time that we set aside the whole month of September where we're really educating people about, for free, it's kind of a give back to the community, ways that they can help save their photos and tell their stories. What's wonderful about this is it's another way for you to build credibility in your community, and you don't have to do all the work. We provide you with a PowerPoint and the script and the social media marketing packages, everything that you would need to take advantage of that. And so that you could be out there promoting your business and yourself as your community expert during the month of September. And we've provided you with everything that you need to make that happen. And another great benefit is our partners, right? We have amazing partners that really are invested in having a relationship with you. For instance, Archival Methods is a great company up in Rochester. They have beautiful archival storage and presentation products. They offer our members anywhere from a 30 to 45% discount, wholesale pricing. Nixplay, the digital photo frame company, gives you 20% off their frames. This is just a handful here of the partners that we have. We actually have a partner booklet. So it's kind of like your AARP benefits or your Chamber of Commerce benefits, right? Where you get benefits by being a member. These companies are excited to interact with you. And so they give you a discount. Then from that, you can either keep that in your pocket or give it as a gift to your client. It's up to you to however you want to manage those relationships. But also, if you like to geek out and you like technology, we have so many new companies approach us all the time to do what we call focus groups. In fact, I'm getting ready to send some emails out for a couple new really interesting products on the market who they know that we're the industry experts, right? They're anxious to talk to you, to try out their products, to give them feedback. So if you enjoy those kind of things, you can be on the inner knowing of things. We have lots of opportunities like that as well. So if you join the Photo Managers today, it is $175 a quarter, like I mentioned, or $599 annually. Just go to join the Photo Managers. If you're not sure, you still have questions, feel free to reach out to us at support@thephotomanagers.com. I also set up 15-minute conversations if people sometimes want to talk to a real person. And we also have a bonus. So if you join by the end of the month, which is coming right up, we will give you what we call our Snapshot Pass. That's a $49 value. You can choose any of the virtual breakout sessions that we have for conference, and you can attend all of the networking meetings for free. So you just pick one class. And you can also be joining the networking meetings. That'll be in May, but we'll give that to you free. Or we'll take $49 off the cost of conference. If you want to come to and join us in person in Orlando, we'd love to have you there as well. So, but you need to join by the end of February to be able to take advantage of those specials. So what should your next steps be? I recommend if you enjoy reading a book and things, our book, The Business Roadmap, is a great place to start. Do some market research, maybe ask your family and friends what they think about this idea. Check out our YouTube channel. Every month we do career advice from a pro. We have some great, you can read and hear from pros from all over the world, different walks of life. Those are a great way to kind of hear from the pros yourself. Review the benefits of membership. If you're wondering how do you know how much to charge and things, we recommend you review the average hourly rate for service providers in your area. I could talk about that more if people have more questions about that. And this idea of putting together a one-page business plan. Again, you're going into business for yourself, so you want to treat this as a business. And we're here to support you every step of the way. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn on my video. And I am here to answer your questions. So thank you so much for your attention. And what kind of questions do we have today, Isabel?
We don't have any questions quite yet, but if anyone wants to add those to the chat, you're also welcome to come off mute if you prefer to speak your question out loud.
I work on this presentation a lot, but if there's no questions, I'd be shocked.
If I may just verbally ask a question?
Sure.
The class you were showing that was like the first class that was $149, is that purchasable without being a member?
Do we have that on the website, Isabel?
No, we've removed that. It's currently only available through membership.
So you pay for your membership and then you pay the $149.
No, it's free.
Oh, that one's free.
It's valued at $149. When we did sell it as a standalone course, it was $149, but it's included in membership. So
everything you covered is included in the membership.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, so for $175 for the quarter, you can view all the classes and
Right. And
Um,
get that one class right off the bat.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, that's our goal is to give you the foundation, the core foundation to be successful. So I always tell people, we give a 30-day money back guarantee. We're not looking, it's not like, here, give us your money. And we really want you to be successful and give you the tools that you need to really start. And we've been doing this a long time. So we know we really have a good handle on what it takes to help people be successful.
And a question in the chat, is there something that this person can do to prepare for starting the service next fall? Aaron is totally swamped right now, building a house and getting ready to move to a different city by the summer, and is thinking ahead and doesn't want to waste money by buying in too soon. What are your suggestions?
Yeah, that's a good point. You sound like, I think you're wise to wait because you're thinking in the fall. I mean, I would definitely look at your calendar and decide when can you carve out like a good 2 or 3 days to really kind of jump in. So say you decide, honestly, my calendar, it won't be till September 15th. I mean, it's okay. We're not going anywhere. We'll be here in September. In the meantime, though, some fun things you can do is start following us on social media, following our members. Maybe, when you're hanging around on your, in the parking lot or, I don't know, scroll through, look at some of our other members' websites, think about a business name, think about what kind of services you might want to charge. So just start mentioning it to people. Say, hey, after this fall, when I'm, done going through all these things, I'm going to start this business. What do you think? A lot of times why I tell people to do that is most people say, oh my gosh, I'll be your first client. That's pretty common. So you might start building a client base before you even get started. You could take their name and information, and say, I'll be in touch with you when I'm ready. So hopefully that helps give you some ideas. But I think maybe buy my book, go through the book. That's pretty easy and can be a good way to just kind of some nighttime reading or something before while you're so busy.
And I'll also add to check out the different interviews we've done with pros on our YouTube channel. I'll link that in the chat, but we've done several interviews with successful photo managers, and they share sort of how they got started, why they got started, and their recommendations for people.
How they find clients. We always ask them, I always ask them this, what you love about your job and what don't you like about your job? Because, there's things you're going to like and there's things you're not going to like. And we want to be honest about that. So yeah, maybe watch some of those. So.
And Linda wants to know, what's the ratio of charging the client versus the cost in time to work with that client?
That's a great question. I think I understand that. I've never seen it written that way, but you're wanting to know there's a ratio. I don't know if that's a good question. I don't know if there's ever been a ratio specifically. There must be a standard ratio in the business world of what, so you don't always, not everybody charges as an hourly fee, but you need to know what your hourly fee is. That covers all of your time costs. So I always tell people just to know what the hourly base you should be starting with is to research what is an hourly fee in your area for service providers. By that, I mean massage therapists, professional organizers, bookkeepers, tax preparers right now, speech pathologists, anybody who charges, dog walkers. I mean, even though we're much more than a dog walker, but still maybe dog sitters. And you'll find it's going to range anywhere from $55 to $60 to $180, $200, depending on where you are probably in the country. And from that, then that's how you're going to start setting your rate. And then you're billing for the time. So if you're $100 an hour, right? That $100 an hour doesn't mean you're getting paid that $100 for the full 100 hours of working. That includes like the time it took you to write their invoice, the time it took you to send them 3 emails, right? So I hope that helps in terms of that question in terms of thinking about how you're billing for your time.
And does the photo managers offer gift cards? Family and friends always ask, what do you want for a birthday or Christmas?
Yeah, many of our members do. So we as the photo managers don't, but you as a business owner would do that as part of your own business. And absolutely another fun way to get your name out there, I did this a lot when I first started, was there's always they're coming back. It's funny, during COVID, things went away, but everything's coming back in so many ways, like those teacup auctions or something like that, like a fundraiser for your school, or you can donate. I used to put together a nice little package of in a nice little gift bag, $100 gift certificate off my time, or, 100 photos scanned or something like that. Or you could put like some popcorn in there and maybe say, 3 home movies converted. And again, if you don't do the home movie conversion, you can find a partner can do that. But there's all sorts of fun ways that you can package up what you do and give that as like a donation at a raffle. And that's a way for people to be like, oh, this person, there's somebody in my town who does this.
And Sharon is wondering if this can be done as a side business. She works full-time and is not sure if this is possible to do while working a full-time job.
Absolutely. So our members range everywhere from members who do it very, very side core. Maybe they do 1 client a quarter or 1 or 2 clients a month. It's just a small side business, all the way to members with multiple employees and outside physical locations. In fact, I think, aren't we starting a special interest group of solo entrepreneurs part-time?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. They want to kind of hang out. We're going to set up a way for them to kind of network more with each other, because sometimes it can be a little intimidating if you're reading, all the questions from the people with maybe hiring employees, but that group wants to hang out together and stuff and introduce each other. So yes.
And does the photo managers help choose what is good to concentrate or specialize in at the beginning?
We give you a lot of information, and then we really stress, do what you love and outsource the rest. It's hard to know what you're going to love. A lot of people, we say scanning is an easy way in. It really is, only because almost everybody will want some photos scanned at some point, right? And so, but we've had members who eventually say, I absolutely hate scanning. I don't want to ever scan again. I'm just going to outsource that. And then we have other members who say, I love scanning. I don't want to do digital photo organizing, or I love making photo books, or I never want to make a photo book. But you don't really know until you've probably tried a number of things. So.
And I'll also add that the Business Foundations course that we do have does have a lesson on sort of choosing your services, and it goes through various options and what different photo managers offer. And that should be a good help to get you started in choosing which one to concentrate on. The next question is, other than the cost of membership, how much should someone expect to invest at the beginning?
Usually she's in Poland too. We need to introduce her to Veronica. She'll be so happy not to be the only member in Poland. It's pretty minimal to get started, right? So if you're going to start, we'd recommend you have a good computer. If you're, it's the cost of membership. If you're going to offer scanning, the lowest cost for the average cost for a basic scanner, that's a decent one that's going to work for you, is about $299. And so people are always surprised, like that's all, like, the cost of a website, the cost of some marketing. It is a very minimal investment to get started. And then over time, and then learning, in some ways you're investing in learning. And over time, though, you will probably upgrade to better scanners. You'll definitely want to upgrade to a better computer. Maybe you want to have a PC and a Mac if you're really getting into digital photo organizing, so you're proficient on both systems. But that's about it. And then maybe investing in some external hard drives, but usually you're going to pass that fee on to the client.
And can you clarify if a list of various equipment that required, if that's included in either one of your books or both of your books?
It's in the photo organizing. It's in my a business roadmap. We have a ton of downloads that you can download, right, including basic, even down to like what kind of hard drive you should have in your computer and stuff like that. I'd have to look all that up to do it off the top of my head, but yeah, we have all of that.
And do we have any training or tools for remote photo organizing where you access the client's computer remotely?
Do you have any tools or training? We've never done training on that, only because it's pretty easy. I mean, there's something called TeamViewer that people use, or Zoom, that allow you to take over a person's computer. So, but you can certainly ask, like in the members Facebook group, like, what is it that you use to log into your clients' computers? And people, I mean, it's been answered so many times. You could just do a search and get the answers to that. It's pretty inexpensive software to do that.
And Linda's asking, if she doesn't end up doing this herself, she may be interested in sending people to a photo organizer. She knows that the price will vary greatly for any one client, but is there a ballpark cost or an average client? A range is fine.
Yeah, we always say there's no average. There's no average, everybody jokes about that, like there's no average client. I'm gonna say it could be as low as $300 or $400 if they have, say 15 movies they need converted in 2 shoe boxes of photos. It's probably going to be around $400 or $500. If they have, you know, 2 phones and a computer and 3, storage places filled with digital photos, and it might be close to $1,000 to get all those in one place to start to run. And it goes up from there. If they want a photo book of their child's, like the video montage I'm going to do for Joshua, my son, and stuff, I'm sure I'm going to pay her $700 or $800 for that, but I want a really good one, like not something that you just would throw together. I'll probably, I'll work with her. She'll help me pick the music and things like that. So I'm willing to pay the extra for that. You can probably price it lower than that, but I hope that helps. I don't know. It's hard to answer that question because it's really varied.
And would you say that photo organizers have to be well organized themselves?
I always laugh that the fact that the word organization was ever attached to my name is kind of like the funniest thing that ever happened. The reason why I called it the photo organizers is because when I was an early adapter to digital technology with photos, because I did scrapbooking and stuff, so I really knew how to get your photos from a memory card to your computer. And a friend asked me, she wanted me to help her. I went to her, she wouldn't let me pay her. She insisted she pay me. I couldn't understand why she would want to pay me. I got to her house, and she had photos on her computer that she didn't know how to get with her. She had boxes of photos she had inherited from her parents. She said, Kathy, I don't care how long it takes. I guarantee there's hundreds of other Marias just like me. And I want you to organize this stuff and make a book for my dad, who was in his 90s. And I said, well, Maria, I can't make that book for your dad if your photos are all unorganized. I need to get them organized first to put them in some kind of order so I can make the photo book. And I drove home and I thought, I guess I'd call myself a photo organizer. So, I joke about that only because I'm much more of a storyteller. I'm a creative right brain person, and I tend to think in terms of that way. And so, no, I don't think, but I do know that you have to be curious. I think curiosity is critical, and a willingness to take a deep breath if you don't know the answer, slow down, and find the answers. I do think those are critical skills for success. If you get easily frustrated by technology and you want to say, I don't know it, I can't understand it, and throw your hands up, you might get frustrated because you're going to have to take a lot of deep breaths to figure things out, which is why people are paying you for that.
And do we have many members in Canada? We do. And let me actually get that exact number. Right now we have 54 members in Canada.
They're a great group, the Canadian group.
They are. And Kathy, while we're waiting for some other questions, we did have a question about the story behind the photo behind you.
This one?
Yes. Can you share a little bit about that?
Oh, I look at that. I think they're young. They were younger there. We went to Colorado. That's a funny story only because my son, on his birthday, he was born on December 30th. And one day we got a call that one of my nieces went into labor, and it was December 30th, and she had a baby. And then a few hours later, the other niece went into labor and on December 30th, and she had a baby. So when they turned one, they lived, one's in Texas, one's in Colorado. We were in Connecticut. We all flew to Colorado, and we did a birthday party for the 1-year-olds and my son. And that just happened to be a group photo taken that day. So there's a little story there. One thought about Canada too, and our international members, we do offer a 10% discount. You just have to email us for the code because we do understand the exchange rate right now is just crazy. So we definitely want to support our international members. So that in January 1, we extended an offer to all international members to reduce their annual fee by 10%. Just we're sensitive to the cost of business, and especially because we work in US dollars, but we are an international organization. We want to really support our international members every way we can. Yeah, Aaron, right. That exchange rate is tough. Yeah, we're aware of that. All right. Looks like we're-
Oh, hello, Cliff here,
Hey,
from
Cliff.
poppyphotos.com. And I've been dealing with photos and everything else for the last 20 so years with the archive. And if you guys ever get bored, you can just hop on the link I have under Aretha's picture there. So I'm actually dealing with an estate of a photographer whose most of his work is done on negatives, but the collection is located in New Jersey. So if I were to have them send me images to be organized and things like that, is there a certain or particular DPI rate that we scan in? Or is that something that is a little too complex to put on a commercial level?
The client, you want to scan the negatives, or they aren't scanned yet?
No, most of them aren't scanned. They're sitting in a nice bank vault in New Jersey.
They
And
should be scanned at a high, but I'd have to look at negative resolution off the top of my head, but you'd want them to be scanned because the negative is the best, it's the original document, really. That's going to give the best quality photo scan is a negative. If people have negatives and they want, the best color and things like that, that a negative will produce the best quality, right? So you're asking, though, just not sure I understand the question.
Okay, the question is, since I'm not physically going to be there, how do I advise the client to send me the scans to organize?
How they send you okay. Yeah. You want to make sure that we have information, like wrap them in bubble wrap, put it in a photo safe negative, archival box wrapped in bubble wrap, and then either FedEx or UPS, but with tracking, and sign on delivery so that you can track the product from New Jersey to wherever it is that you are. It is safe. I mean, we don't a lot of times people find that this is such a successful business because people don't want to ship their things in the mail. And that's a great piece of your service business, right? You say, we offer white blood service, we pick up and deliver. A lot of members will offer that as a service, but you can, it is okay to send photos in the mail. I just want to make sure that you give them really clear instructions and you're tracking it all the way to you.
Exactly, because I had an incident earlier last week because I'm buying up archives as we speak as well. I'm kind of a two-headed monster here. I deal with the commercial end of it with celebrities and people, places, and things, the nouns. And I also have been buying collections on the bay of huge storage lockers full of things. So I'm now also running a resurrection service where I digitize and I'll actually put them out there. And I also track down the people's names on the back of the photos. So because, by no fault of that person, maybe their uncle or aunt got in a little bit of financial difficulty, put everything in the storage locker, and the storage locker got taken over. So as an altruistic thing to where now we're just put on disability. So your conference here came in perfect timing. I couldn't mention how much better timing it is because I've always had an interest in doing this type of thing. And I didn't know there was such a world. So your email popped up and I'm like, oh, look at that. Kathy, wonderful. Bam.
Good. Well, I just talked to a guy today from Nashville who had a very unique collection of rare, like Elvis Presley. He was saying the photos he had, and he somehow came in contact with that. What's also interesting, I would imagine, is we have different companies, like it depends on but if it's whether SmugMug or photo online galleries where you can then display those photos for the public, or you could probably sell those photos if you wanted. So that's great work that you're talking about doing.
Oh yeah, and it's just been very entertaining. I'm also grabbing up estates of formerly famous people. I don't know how far extensively your knowledge goes back, but there was an African American actor known as Mantan Moreland. He showed up in the old Charlie Chan movies and things, and his estate just came up on eBay, and I purchased it. So I'll be digitizing all of his signed photos, press clippings, and things like that. I also purchased an archive of a former showgirl who worked in the Latin Quarter in the late 50s. So, a little spicier than the usual fare.
You'll find your people that if you come to the conference and stuff, we're a unique group. So that's one other thing I want to say to people. Like, I always say, people say, but they come to our conference or they join, gosh, it's the most friendly group. And I always say, I think it was self-selected because if you're interested, you have to have a level of curiosity, right? If you're interested in photos and stories, that require, or maybe a little bit of interest in history. So you're interested in other people. So when if you go to a conference, it's actually a place where people really like, tell me about yourself, or where are you from? Or, it's there's always like this huge buzz of conversation in the room. And I think it's because we're all by nature those people, right? So that's
Yeah,
fun.
we are.
Yeah.
And one last thing, because I don't want to dominate the conversation here. Now, you mentioned during your presentation that you had seen the geek out part of it. How you get new technologies to test drive and things like that. Well, as a former computer scientist, it definitely appeals to me. Do we let you know after we join your service?
You should. Absolutely, because right now I've got 2 focus groups I need to. One is a company called Good Ones, GOODONES. I got their little thing on my phone, but it helps you find on your photo the good ones. GOD. They just got some big funding, like they were in TechCrunch. Anyway, they're looking for people who will download the app, give them feedback. And then there's another one called Image, IMIAG. None of you would ever know anything about these companies at this point, but they're doing some really interesting thing in artificial intelligence around photo curation and things like that. Because there's a big rush. I talk about this big problem. A lot of technology companies are trying to think, well, let's figure out a way to solve this. I think the difficulty in that is always going to be the story that there's no way artificial intelligence is going to tell you that, like what I just talked about, that photo. But there are smarter and smarter ways that we can learn to use artificial intelligence to help our clients, even with facial recognition, in terms of helping clients organize their digital photos. It makes your job easier by using facial recognition. And again, these are things that you're going to learn about that the consumer just, we're too busy. Like, nobody's got time. We can bring that information to you, but the average person isn't. I always say the average person isn't researching, who came up with the newest, greatest app for me today to organize my photos.
You'd be surprised at what I do in my free time.
You maybe, but not most people. Kimberly has her hand up. Kimberly, you want to come off mute?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. At the beginning of this meeting, you talked about curating, and I thought you referred to a course on curating.
Oh, I use the word that yes, I think we talk about curating a lot. The ABCs of photo organizing, how to edit photos. It's kind of, but the word curation has been creeping in more than organizing. I think organizing for people tends to mean one thing and curation tends to mean another. And that's what I was referring to. I think they're similar, but curating a client's photo collection or organizing their collection, 2 different words mean the similar thing.
But curating means just getting rid of what you don't need. Organizing maybe is.
That's a good point. Yeah, I guess we should do it in right. Curating first, you want to go through, eliminate all the blurries and what I call the duds, the blurries and duds. You want to get rid of, find, this is wood printed, right? You want to find all the doubles, because everybody got multiple pictures taken and things like that. Go through and eliminate all of that. We also recommend you eliminate majority of scenery shots, vacation photos, travel photos. You work with the client about this, but if you went to the Grand Canyon, can we just keep the 5 best photos from the Grand Canyon, not the 125 you took at the Grand Canyon?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, not everybody wants to see, 125 photos of the Grand Canyon, right? They want to see the photos that tell a story, where their people are in it, or there's historical documentation in it and things like that. So that's kind of the process what I was talking about.
Okay. And then also I haven't read it, but I did buy your book, the Kindle version of Photo Organizing Made Easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have the Epson V600.
Okay.
Part of my struggle, I guess, is like, what settings on the scanner am I supposed to do? I feel like start and stop. And because I realize, I should have done something this way and that way. But I know you said, we got to be ready to fail and try again and fail and try again.
Yeah, 600 DPI would be the best practice. I would recommend that you scan photos at just as a best practice, which is higher resolution than most people will ever need, but just as a helpful, as part of our best practices. Yeah, and this is that willingness to the perfectionism. I think we see that in a lot. And tomorrow we have our new member orientation, which we take all new members through. And I just rewrote all of that about simplifying. And I talk a lot about perfectionism, and because I see that for people, right? They get this feeling, the person that's hiring you, it's whether the work is done better than perfect. I mean, sometimes, yes, you got to think about the big picture here, because otherwise, if you get caught up too much, now I'm not suggesting that you don't use best practices, but I am saying that it's okay to That's a great question. So 600 DPI would be my answer. And as long as you're scanning somebody's photos at 600 DPI, you're providing
Okay.
them with a great, for the quality
And not
product.
worry about all the other settings that are part of the Epson, just do the 600 and
Correct. Yeah.
graph, and that's good.
Yeah, there's always way more settings, just even on like a camera, right? You buy a new camera and you're like, I'm gonna go back to my iPhone because I don't understand half of these settings, Sometimes things are there that are unnecessary, that just only a minuscule number of people would ever use.
Okay, and then last question is, I have some home movies on DVD that I was wanting to use Handbrake
Yes,
to
I was gonna say
convert.
Handbrake. Mhm.
Do you have, is there a course or a YouTube video that you guys have done or anything about doing
Not that we haven't done, but I know that all our members use Handbrake, and there's one other that they talk about. Again, if you went in and to our Facebook, I mean, I could just show you all, since this is going, but I don't mind taking to a screen share quick, and I'll just show you how
Okay.
fast you would get the answer to that question if you went to Facebook. We tried to get people into a forum, but everybody does better in a so over here, and here's an example of our Zoom meeting of the South meeting. I must have just posted that picture today. But so if I went in
Okay.
here, and I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get to my this is our members, or our community home. And I'm just going to search ripping DVD, right? I mean, that's pretty much, I'm just going to research Handbrake. Because Handbrake, for those of you who don't know, is, I'm glad you knew about that, but that is how you can. I've been using Handbrake to, is there anything that UniConverter does that Handbrake doesn't? So, and any reason why I should, do it at 60% off? She asked that question. 16 people gave her her answers. Here's a question. It was actually me who asked that about, 19 people asked it. Here's somebody who showed a comparison between two different ones. So, I mean, this is just a quick, search under that topic alone. So this is, like I mentioned, it's like an amazing help group for you of information in a place like that. That's where our members go and ask each other questions all the time. And so you're not alone. And,
Okay.
and I mean, I could look and just see what's the most recent question that we had a scanning webinar today. We didn't, so I don't know why she thought that, but here's somebody asking, I have a high transfer question. 4 people answered her within an hour, and they usually will even put links like that. So that just here's another one. My client was given a StoryWorth thing, I've never done this. What could you advise? 6 people respond. So I just wanted to
So just go to the Photo Managers channel on YouTube and then search whatever my question is.
Yeah, well, if you were a member and you went to the Photo Managers Facebook only members page and search that's where you'd get that answer. As not a member, that's that information is behind a community, because as members only, because they're asking a lot of really personal questions about clients' work and things. So it's kept, you have to be a member to access that.
Gotcha.
But you can Google, I'm sure if you Google Handbrake YouTube video, there's tons of them.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate all your answers.
No worries. Okay.
And one final question, Kathy. Nancy's wondering if she can join the program herself to organize her own collection first, and then decide if she wants to make it a business.
Yeah, a lot of people do that too. We do focus on the business piece a lot, but yeah, we've had many members who join as a way to get their own photos organized and then make a decision. So that's certainly an option. And you'll have access to all the partners we have, and you'll go through, you can take the courses and things like that. So that could be really helpful as well. We also have our courses on our website, though, the Photo Organizing Academy. We do have what we call the DIY market. We do have courses that are self-paced that you can also go through. But if you like the feeling of a community and things like that, then this would be might be a better fit. All right. I think you've been a great audience. Started with no questions and had lots of questions. So Again, welcome. Thank you again for your time. We'd love to welcome you. We have about an average of 20 to 25 new members joining a month, so you're not alone. Tomorrow on the last Friday of every month, we do what we call our new member orientation. We really dig in, like what are the things you really want to focus on most and at what pace that you want to do that. But again, it's your own business. It's at your own pace. So there's no rules or, regulations or anything like that. Some people jump in right away, and some people slowly get their way in. It doesn't, it's your business. We're just really here as like the trade association, essentially, that supports you. And we've really created a business that didn't exist. So there was no such thing as photo managers. Now, like we said, we have members all over the world and been members for many years. So it is a warm and engaging community. And it's a growing need, and it's a great field of business if that's what you're interested in, in doing it. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time. Enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.